If you make beats, you might have some bad ideas that could be holding you back right now. These are ideas that producers think are true because they've read them on the internet or they've heard other producers say them, but so much of it is absolute nonsense. And in today's video, I'm going to explain the 3 most common dumb ideas that producers believe and how they're actually hurting you. Before we start, think about hitting like and subscribe, and if you ever get tired of my videos, feel free to unsubscribe. It's all good. So let's start with the first one here. A while back, I made a video showing techniques that Jay Dilla used in his beats, and here's a comment that someone left on that video. Don't have an MPC, don't talk on Dilla. I don't think producers truly understand just how bad it is to think something like this. Whether it's this idea or that one dot is the best if you want to make beats, these ideas are what's sabotaging you. Let me explain how. When you believe something like this, you're taking all of the ability that you have, your hard work, your skill, everything that you've accomplished, and you reduce their value. You are believing that they aren't as important. Instead, you increase the importance of your tools, your program, your plugins, and you believe that they're more valuable when making beats. Now, why does this matter? There's a common study in psychology that talks about locus of control. What this basically says is that there are 2 types of people. Number 1, people who have external locus of control, who believe that their success or failure is outside of their control. And number 2, people with internal locus of control. These are people who believe that they are responsible for their own lives and their own success, and they have control of this. And what's interesting is that time and time again, studies show that people with internal locus of control are far more successful, happy, and healthy compared to people with external locus of control. And I think this is true when you make beats. By thinking that you need a certain program or tool to make a certain kind of beat, you are adopting an external locus of control. Meaning you're believing that the things outside of you are the reason why you will or will not be able to make good beats. And again, like the studies show, this will hurt your ability to actually be successful and make beats, so you can see how damaging this type of thinking can be. So that's one reason why you need to change your thinking here. But what makes this even worse is that you're basically agreeing to be taken advantage of. Think about it, this is the exact type of thing that companies want. There's nothing better for a company than a customer who believes the only way that they're going to succeed is by using their product. You become easy money. So for me, I choose to believe that I can make a good beat using FL, using Ableton, using an MPC, a keyboard for babies. Give me a tuba and I'll give you something out of it. This puts me in control of my beats, not my DAW or some expensive tool that I want to buy. So stop believing in this type of stuff because you're just giving your power away. You are the reason you can make good beats, not your program. So let's move on to bad idea number 2, believing that you should post your beats online every day. This is something that I see often. Newer producers do this because they see videos online that tell them to consistently post their beats and that it's necessary to start becoming a successful producer. Let me explain how this is a bad idea. Imagine there was a kid named Bobby, and Bobby was into skateboarding. He'd only been doing it about a year, so he was only able to do basic tricks like kickflips and ollies. And let's say that Bobby was able to successfully do these basic tricks 95% of the time. But Bobby was also practicing some really advanced level tricks. The problem was that he wasn't that good at them yet. He was only able to successfully do these tricks 15% of the time. He still needed more practice. Then one day at school, he's walking down the hallway and he sees a flyer and it says that there's going to be a talent show at his school. He decides to sign up and show off his skateboarding tricks to the whole school. But he doesn't know which tricks he should do, the ones that he's good at or the ones he isn't as good at. So let me ask you what you would do in this situation. Which tricks would you do in front of your school? The ones where you succeed 95% of the time, where you're still able to do some pretty cool tricks that will impress the other kids in your school, or the really cool tricks where you fail most of the time and risk embarrassing yourself in front of the entire school. Now here, most people will probably choose to do the more basic tricks. It's a safer, smarter choice here. You might want to practice doing the advanced tricks more before trying them in front of people. Now you might be wondering, what the hell does this have to do with beat making? When you force yourself to post beats up every single day, you're basically signing up to a talent show, one that happens every single day. And right now, you might only be able to do kickflips and ollies, meaning you might only be able to make basic beats. So think about it, when are you going to develop and get better? You might think you're practicing as you make beats every day, but you're really not. You only learn and get better at a skill when you practice things that you don't know how to do yet. And when you post beats online every day, you're likely making the same types of beats that you already know how to make. The same logic applies here. You're going to be safer with your beats that you're forcing yourself to show in front of the public. You're not going to post up your more experimental beats and face humiliation online. So you have a far less incentive to actually experiment altogether. So by forcing yourself to post beats every single day, you're going to be stuck at the same level for a lot longer. And this is why I recommend a different approach for producers who are just starting out. Give yourself free creativity days where you can practice new ideas that you'll never post. Or maybe just wait until you get a little bit better before posting your beats altogether. I think that posting beats online every day is going to do more harm than good when you're just starting out. Dumb idea number 3, a controversial one here, believing that YouTube tutorials are helping. I know this might come as a shocker seeing as I create YouTube tutorials, but this is one that can do more harm than good depending on who you are. The way I explain this is if I gave you a Rubik's Cube, I could give you the step-by-step instructions on how to solve it. I could tell you turn the top row 2 times, the middle row 3 times, and then turn the bottom half once. After you solved it, you might think you now know how to solve Rubik's Cubes. But what would happen if I gave you an entirely different cube and told you to solve it using what you just learned? You'd turn the top row 3 times, the middle row once, the bottom half twice, and then you'd see the Rubik's Cube still wasn't solved, and you'd be stuck because you didn't really learn anything. And this is the problem with many YouTube tutorials. They'll tell you that if you want to make a Travis Scott beat, here are the exact sounds you should use, here are the exact notes you should play. But when you do this, you're not really learning, you're just following steps. These types of tutorials don't directly teach the actual fundamentals of how to make beats. Things like how to choose the right sounds, why one sound is better than another in a beat, how to build the right patterns for your beats. Understanding the why behind beat making decisions is really important, but it's just not possible on YouTube. I know for me, every single video would be 6 hours long if I tried this, which is why I built my course for the people who need that type of help. But what can be even worse is that some tutorial makers don't even know how to explain these ideas themselves. And that's why you see vague stuff like, oh, you need to make your patterns more wavy if you want to make good beats. Make sure to add some extra sauce on your beat if you want that bounce. This isn't really helping you understand anything. Another problem is that a lot of tutorials focus on intermediate ideas. For example, I have many videos where I show off some cool sampling techniques and ideas. But if you don't understand the fundamentals of sampling, like why you should choose certain samples, why you should chop up specific parts of samples, what makes one sample good and another bad, these types of videos won't help you with your actual problem. You're building a house on sand by learning intermediate stuff and the cool techniques before you actually learn the fundamental principles. So before you spend another 2 hours today watching YouTube tutorials, ask yourself an honest question. Do you understand the actual fundamentals? If you don't, I really recommend you start there instead of learning some cool, unique beat making ideas or tricks in your DAW. None of that really matters until you have the right beat making foundation. So those are my 3 big producer mistakes. If you have any other dumb ideas that you see producers talk about, feel free to share them down below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe. I have a free drum kit that you can download in the description box below as well. And hopefully I'll see you next week.